Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Hey, look, today I wanted to talk to you about some misperceptions with regard to VA claims and the VA process and all that good stuff. Now, if you're new to VA benefits, this is going to be really important. And even for some of us who have been around the block a few times with the VA, there's still little nuances that may be confusing, or we might get kind of put off track a little bit with regard to your VA claim, the process, the appeal process, what qualifies, what doesn't, all of that stuff. So this is just going to be kind of a rambling, I guess, of a bunch of different things that kind of go on. Welcome to my mind, right? So a bunch of different things that I think about when it comes to VA stuff, and when I talk to people regarding their VA claim, kind of the pitfalls, the watch out for this, go this way, that type of stuff. So please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff, because this is the information that you need to make sure that you file a good claim, and you know what you can file for and what to do to make sure that you get the appropriate decision and rating percentage, right? So with that, let's jump into it. So when we're looking at the VA claim process, I think if you start from the very beginning, the misperceptions out there have to do with some of the terms that are used, like VA disability. Often when we hear disability, we picture somebody in a wheelchair, missing a limb, major injuries, that type of stuff. So we tend to, or can tend to, self-segregate out of certain benefits because we think it's only for a set of individuals who are experiencing major disabilities. And that's not true. It's more about ailments, any ailment that you have, right? It doesn't have to be completely disabling. Now, although we'll throw in like migraines for an example. I'll tell you, when you're having a horrible migraine, that's pretty disabling. But the rest of the time, you're fine. There's no issue. So, arthritis can have its kind of flare-ups. Maybe you're kind of okay sometimes, but then if you sit too long, stay too long, whatever, but you can still, unless it's major, obviously. I know people with super major arthritis issues, wheelchair-bound arthritis, so obviously there's a scale, right? I'm diagnosed for arthritis, and I get around okay. It's mostly when I stay still too long where it sucks. GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, right? Bad heartburn. It's not every second of every day, but when it does happen, it can be, it's disabling, right? So you have to use the words and look for ways to say yes for you. Another one that's a good example in the VA rating schedule is tics, motor tics, right? So like the twitch in the eye, a twitch in the face, or what have you, some sort of uncontrollable motion, a motor tic, those are rateable by the VA. How disabling is it? I don't know. But here's the thing, is the bottom line is that these things that I'm mentioning are not missing limbs, they're not major injuries, right? And you can file claims for those. So I think that part of the misperceptions are based simply on our misunderstanding of what the VA is actually saying. And that kind of also kind of casts a shadow over the rating schedule. So with the idea that it's a disability, and then you're looking at the rating schedule and 100% rating is the max rating schedule, often we look at that and we think, well, I probably shouldn't be at 100% because I can still walk from my car to the grocery store, so why should I be 100%? Or even worse, we look at one of our brothers and sisters who have 100%, we go, I don't know why they should have 100%. It kind of seems a little bit quirky that they have 100%. The reality is that there's a whole other rating schedule called Special Monthly Compensation, and I've done a couple videos on that. There's more online, what have you, but that rating schedule is for the more catastrophic, very disabling, situations, right? So the person who's really messed up is going to be able to get more benefits through special monthly compensation versus the 100% schedule. Now, just to put it into perspective, gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, bad heartburn, right? Super bad heartburn, can be rated as high as 60% alone. Migraine headaches can be rated at 50%. Sleep apnea could be rated at 50%. I personally have insomnia due to my back at 30%. So I have an arthritis thing that's rated at 40%. So these ratings can add up. Now, yes, there's VA funny math, and you need some decent sized percentages to finally get you over that 95 or to the 95% total in order to round it to the 100% rating. But the reality is that the things that I'm naming are not missing limbs and you're completely quote unquote disabled in the mindset that many of us have. So the big thing here, the big takeaway is that you need to look for ways to say yes. You need to look for ways in which you can leverage the knowledge out there to see if your condition, which it's basically any condition that is diagnosable, right? So if you can get a diagnosis for your condition, it's probably, now, well, here's the caveat. If you have a diagnosis, if you can get a diagnosis for something and it is chronic in nature or has residual effects. So in other words, it's an ongoing problem. It's not, I had a cold once and now I'm better. It's, I have an ongoing issue with this problem, whatever it is. If you're able to do that, most likely there's going to be a rating schedule for it. So you should explore it. Now, what you have to do is you need to be able to point back to your time in service. Now, here's another misperception. What happens is many of us think that we have to prove that the military caused the issue. And that gets compounded, that message, by hearing things such as, well, there's got to be an in-service event. Well, look, there doesn't really need to be an in-service event, some magical thing that happened that you can point to and go, look, this thing happened here in service and I was right here and that's why I'm messed up. That doesn't need to happen. Now, obviously, if it did happen, right, an IED goes off and you're in the convoy and you get hit and you have some issues with your leg, of course, right? But that's not the only way. So an example would be you join the military and then 3 years in, you start getting migraine headaches that are horrific and you get them once a week and then you get out. Well, guess what? You have a chance at getting those migraines service connected, especially if you documented, right? That's the big piece, creating the nexus. If you're able to document your migraines in some fashion while you're in service, it'll make it a much easier road to getting those migraines service connected, right? Getting a rating from the VA. But again, what happens is we tend to look at things and hear things and go, okay, well, an in-service event, well, there was no in-service event for my migraines. So therefore, I won't qualify for migraines. And that's not what the VA is saying, right? The VA is not saying, show me that the military caused it. Show me an in-service event. They're not. What they're really saying is, show me that your condition started during your time in service, or show me that your condition is a result of something during your service, right? The service either, right, it did cause it, or it's a result of, or it manifested during. It's really kind of all those things. So if you can prove that, then you have a good chance at getting that condition service connected. Now, many people will get denied their service connection because they miss something. So they will miss, let's say when they file their claim, they miss either the diagnosis, right? So they don't send in, they just say, hey, I have migraines. And they send it in and they think the VA may do something for them. VA is not really going to help you much. You need to provide the VA the proof that you have migraines. So you need to go to a doctor, have the doctor diagnose you, and then you send that diagnosis along with your, or medical records, whatever, from that doctor that show that you have migraines. Now, if you get a prescription for your migraines, then sending that prescription helps as well because it helps to validate your condition. Now, doing that is really important. In addition to doing that, you can also, as you're going along here, look at other things like secondary conditions. Okay, so the migraines there might not be a secondary condition to it, or there may, right? Maybe they cause some depression, right? Because they're so frequent. Everybody's situation's different. Or let's say that you have a back problem, lower back issue, back's all messed up. You get a rating for that, and now you have secondary conditions because of that. So you may have some problems sleeping, so that is the insomnia, right? Maybe it wasn't a problem up front, so it wasn't service connected. You can't say that it started during your time in service, but after you got out and you were service connected for your back and you have your 10% rating, and a few years go by and your back gets worse, now you're having problems staying asleep, now you have a secondary condition that is going to be able to be used to file your claim. So you'll be able to make that match, right? So you will need to most likely get a letter from your doctor that states that your insomnia is due to your back condition. That makes it easy for the VA. Now, some of the misperceptions here are when the VA comes back and denies you, right? Denies you service connection. When they deny you service connection, it's again either because of usually you didn't provide them the prescription, or not prescription, the diagnosis, or you didn't prove the nexus. You did not show that your condition manifested during your time in service or is a result of your service or was caused by service. You didn't prove any of those things. Now, if it was a manifest during service situation, then in your military records, you may have mentioned it somewhere. And if you didn't, then you need to work with your doctor and have your current doctor out of service. You've been out and now you're out. Work with your current doctor and have them write you what's called a Nexus Letter. The Nexus Letter helps you establish and prove your nexus. They should put in rationale on why they believe that your condition is a result of your service or manifested during your time in service. And, it could be MOS, right? You have tinnitus ringing in the ears, you were a machine gunner. Okay, well, there you go. You have migraine headaches and you were a mortarman or artillery or something. Or you have some sort of TBI and you were, maybe TBI can be linked to, pulling it for the artillery or dropping rounds as a mortarman, especially the 81s and 120s, that can cause some sort of concussion, and potentially cause some sort of TBI. So if you have TBI but you don't have anything really concrete, but that was your MOS, there might be a link there. But you'd have to work with your doctor. I'm not a medical person. So with that, those are a few of the things. One last thing I'm going to leave you with, because this is getting kind of long and it's just a kind of a rambling video just to kind of get out some thoughts, is the appeal process. The appeal process is there for you, and you must, and the VA puts it all in writing when they send you their decision. The problem is that we don't read it, right? We read 3 sentences and we're like, wow, they denied me, screw the VA, and you move on. The reality is that when they deny you, you need to start working on seeing why they denied you, and then getting additional evidence and filing that supplemental claim within the specified timeline to preserve your effective date. This is going to be very important because you could potentially get that condition service connected and get back paid all the way back to your original effective date. So really important stuff. I just wanted to share some information with you and just kind of have like if I was talking to all of you in front of me for the first time kind of message. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.